Welcome back to part 2 of Ngozi's harrowing tale. When we last left her, she encountered a terrifying creature on a deserted island, a place that turned from peaceful to a fight for survival. The mystery deepens and the stakes are higher. Can Ngozi escape, or will she fall to the island's curse? Let's return to the cursed island. Ngozi's heart pounded in her chest as she tried to process what she had seen. The humanoid figure that had emerged from the water was unlike anything she had ever imagined. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light, and its presence sent shivers down her spine. She knew she couldn't stay on the beach any longer. She needed to find a safer place to hide. She spent the day gathering her belongings, packing them into the suitcase she had found. As night fell, Ngozi climbed into the hollow tree that had become her makeshift shelter. She tried to stay awake, listening for any sign of the creature, but exhaustion eventually overtook her. Sometime during the night, she was awakened by the sound of something moving outside the tree. Holding her breath, she peered through a small crack in the trunk. The creature was back, its glowing eyes scanning the beach. It moved with a deliberate, almost predatory grace, as if it was searching for something or someone. Ngozi's heart raced as she realized the creature was looking for her. She stayed as still as possible, praying that it wouldn't find her hiding place. After what felt like an eternity, the creature finally moved away, disappearing into the jungle. The next morning, Ngozi knew she had to take action. She couldn't just keep hiding and hoping for rescue. She needed to confront the creature and find a way to escape the island. She spent the day preparing, sharpening sticks into spears, and setting traps around the beach. That night, she used a small shark she had caught earlier as bait, hanging it from a tree near the edge of the jungle. She then climbed into a high net she had improvised in the trees, hoping it would give her some advantage over the creature. As the night wore on, a storm rolled in, lightning flashing across the sky. Ngozi's nerves were on edge as she waited, her hand gripping her spear tightly. Then, through the pouring rain, she saw it, the creature, emerging from the jungle and moving toward the shark. Ngozi held her breath as the creature approached the bait. It sniffed the air, clearly aware that something was off. But before it could react, Ngozi sprang into action. She hurled her spear at the creature, hitting it in the side. The creature let out a deafening roar, thrashing wildly as it tried to remove the spear. Ngozi didn't wait to see if the creature was down. She scrambled out of the net and ran toward the beach. But the creature was fast, much faster than she anticipated. It lunged at her, knocking her to the ground. Ngozi fought back with everything she had, stabbing at the creature with a piece of wood she had sharpened earlier. The fight was brutal and exhausting. The creature was relentless, and Ngozi was losing strength. Just as she thought she couldn't hold on any longer, she managed to drive the piece of wood deep into the creature's chest. The creature shuddered, its glowing eyes dimming as it collapsed to the ground. Ngozi was barely conscious, her body bruised and battered. She crawled away from the creature, her vision blurring as she reached the edge of the water. She knew she needed to get back to her shelter, but she didn't have the strength to move. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Ngozi was startled by a new sight. A small inflatable raft with a tent slowly drifting toward the island. She blinked, wondering if she was hallucinating from exhaustion. But as the raft got closer, she saw them, two figures, one of them unmistakably Chinedu, her boyfriend. With the last of her strength, Ngozi forced herself to stand and waded into the water, waving frantically to get their attention. Chinedu and the other figure, who she recognized as her friend Adara, jumped into the water and swam toward her. When they reached her, Ngozi collapsed into Chinedu's arms, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't believe they were here. She had spent so many nights alone, thinking she would never see them again. Chinedu held her close, reassuring her that everything would be all right now that they were together. Adaora looked around the island, clearly unnerved by the sight of the dead creature lying on the beach. After Ngozi had rested and regained some of her strength, she told Chinedu and Adara everything that had happened: the shipwreck, Emeka's death, and the creature that had haunted her nights. She showed them the photos she had found, the graves in the jungle, and the strange hole in the ocean floor. Chinedu listened intently, but Ngozi could tell he was skeptical. He tried to calm her, saying that the creature must have been a wild animal, nothing more. But Ngozi knew better. There was something about the island, something ancient and malevolent that she couldn't explain. As they sat by the fire that night, Ngozi noticed Chinedu and Adaora exchanging worried glances. She knew they didn't fully believe her, but she didn't have the energy to argue. All she wanted was to leave the island and never look back. The next morning, they decided to gather supplies and try to make their way back to the mainland. But as they prepared to leave, they noticed something disturbing. Fear gripped them as they realized the creature wasn't dead. It had simply retreated, waiting for the right moment to strike again. They hurried to the raft, but just as they were about to push off, the creature reappeared, more enraged than ever. A fierce battle ensued, with Ngozi, Chinedu, and Adaora fighting for their lives. The creature was relentless, attacking with a ferocity that seemed almost supernatural. Ngozi managed to wound it several times, but it kept coming, its glowing eyes fixed on her. In the chaos, Chinedu was struck by the creature and knocked unconscious. Ngozi screamed, fearing she had lost him, but she didn't have time to check. She was the creature's main target now, and it was closing in on her. With no other choice, Ngozi lured the creature toward the traps she had set earlier. As the creature stepped into the circle of dry sticks and grass, Ngozi lit the fire, surrounding the creature in flames. The creature roared in pain, thrashing wildly as the fire consumed it. But the fire wasn't enough to kill it. The creature broke free from the flames, lunging at Ngozi with renewed fury. Ngozi was ready this time. She grabbed a spear and drove it into the creature's heart, using every ounce of strength she had left. The creature let out one final, deafening roar before collapsing to the ground, dead at last. Ngozi was barely able to stand, her body battered and bruised. She staggered toward Chinedu, who was slowly regaining consciousness. Adaora helped them both to the raft, and together they pushed off from the shore. As they drifted away from the island, Ngozi looked back one last time. The island was in flames, the fire spreading rapidly through the trees. The creature was dead, but the island itself seemed to be alive, consumed by the curse that had claimed so many lives. Ngozi collapsed in the raft, exhausted but alive. They had survived the island, but she knew the experience would haunt her forever. Back on the mainland, Ngozi, Chinedu, and Adaora tried to move on with their lives, but the memories of the island stayed with them. Ngozi found herself plagued by nightmares, reliving the horror she had faced on that cursed shore. Thank you for joining us on this intense and haunting journey. Ngozi's story is a powerful reminder that some battles are fought not just with weapons, but with the strength of the human spirit. If this tale has captivated you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story. And remember, some places are best left unexplored, and some mysteries are better left unsolved. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and beware of what lies beneath the surface.